Hey everybody, I'm Brian Enton in for Ashleigh tonight. We have had such a busy day getting ready for this show because there has just been so much going on today. And let me start with this. They may have found Stacy Peterson. This is breaking. Stacy Peterson, the woman missing for 16 years. You know who I'm talking about. Her husband's Drew Peterson, accused of killing a different one of his wives. You remember Ash interviewed Drew in prison. That was just last month. Well, they may have found Stacy. There is a skull and there are bones, and those bones are not far from where she went missing. And this is all coming to light for the very first time tonight. It is Stacy's sister who has been pushing for search crews to look in a very, very specific canal, and they may have found something. And we have the images to show you tonight. We also have Stacy's sister. She's going to join us live in just a minute to explain how all of this unfolded. And then, you know, Ashleigh's been covering the WWE scandal really like no one else. The really twisted sexual abuse allegations against Vince McMahon. But none of the big names, if you've noticed, have really been talking about it. Everybody's been staying silent. That changes tonight. One of the biggest wrestling names of all time, Ronda Rousey. She is now opening up about all of this. And when I say biggest names in wrestling, by the way, that is no exaggeration when it comes to Ronda. She is a legend, a champion who has even been to the Olympics. The woman has literally done it all, and she is talking tonight why she thinks female wrestlers are too scared to talk. She's going to talk about her experience with Vince McMahon, what another wrestler did to her that has her blood boiling still. She's going into all of it. We've got that conversation with Ronda. It's coming up in just a little bit, and it was a good convo, so you won't want to miss it. Okay, and then the mystery behind the disappearance of two moms in Oklahoma, it grows deeper. The pair were traveling together last week to go pick up children, but they never made it. We covered the story last night. We've learned a lot more since then. The car they were traveling in was found abandoned on the side of the road. Authorities, they've still released very few details. But then something very, very odd happened today. The high school of one of those missing women, it went on lockdown. The school was on lockdown. What does that have to do with the missing women? How does that fit into the puzzle? Who are these women? How do they know each other? Are they friends? Or is there a reason that the older woman was driving with the younger woman? This is all starting to come together tonight. We've got exclusive reporting that really starts to put the puzzle together, and there is a lot that we have dug up that has been going on behind the scenes here. We're going to get into all of it just a little bit later in the show. But let's start now with the major developments that are exclusive to NewsNation and our partner show Crime Nation on the CW. It is breaking news on a mystery that had police scratching their heads for more than 16 years. It's about Stacy Peterson, the presumed dead but never found fourth wife of convicted murderer Drew Peterson. Well, tonight, after all these years, Stacy's family now says they are confident that a set of human bones and a human skull found in the mud at the bottom of a canal are Stacy's remains. This is pretty explosive. Stacy Peterson's sister is going to join me live in just a moment. She's got the images from the search, the expert analysis, and 16 years of really raw determination that led her to search a body of water less than 10 miles from where Stacy was last seen. The man Stacy was married to at the time, Drew Peterson, sitting in prison tonight. You see him right there. Will very likely be there until he dies. He is convicted of murdering his third wife, the wife before Stacy, and he's since been sentenced to 40 more years on all sorts of additional felonies. Recently, in a NewsNation exclusive from behind his prison walls, Ashleigh asked Drew Peterson point blank whether he knew if Stacy's murdered remains were at the bottom of that canal or not. And again, we're going to show you the new picture of the skull and the bones in a second and the proof. We're going to talk to Stacy's sister, why she's so confident it's Stacy. But first, I want you to listen to what Drew Peterson said when Ashleigh asked him about this very thing when they did that prison interview. Take a listen.
Well, to add to the show, you know what I'm saying? It's like, she's still not searching the bottom of the canal, is she?
She is.
Stacy is.
She is.
I thought
and she's found bones.
I thought Stacy was missing.
Stacy's sister, Cassandra, is searching the bottom of the canal, and she has discovered a skull and other bones.
Okay, and did they belong to Stacy?
That's to be determined. Do you think it might be her?
I have no idea. I can't say it's not, but I can't say it is because it's nothing that I did.
But there is that very strange notion that when Stacy disappeared, you were at the canal that night.
I can't answer for that because I don't remember it.
You don't remember it. Something as unusual as going to a canal at midnight.
I don't remember me doing that.
I have no idea. I don't remember. It's nothing I did. Those words straight from convicted wife murderer Drew Peterson. And Ashleigh knew to ask those questions because this is something that we've been digging into for a while here. But whether he remembers being at the canal or not, Stacy Peterson's sister believes that she has located Stacy's body, and that breaking news bombshell dropped just about an hour ago on the true crime investigative series Crime Nation on the CW. Ashleigh and I, we also work on that show. It's all sort of one big family under our parent company, and Crime Nation has been working on the bombshell for months. Take a look at this.
Cassandra must know by now that she's dead. But in our society, it's important to have a place to be able to mourn. And not only do they not know how Stacy died, they don't even have a place to lay a wreath or a flower. In the meantime, Cassandra is more determined than ever to bring her sister home.
If you think you know where my sister is, then let me know. Stop holding it back. He just thinks he knows. But I'm already way ahead of Joel. I already have it all. Anyways, I believe I found my sister.
Literally sucks the life out of me because I know she's there.
So this is the bottom of the canal. We were searching with sonar, and we got the live video. And if you look underneath the grabber claw, you can see a human skull upside down, the two eye sockets right underneath it filled with silt, and the lower jawbone fell off. You can totally see a female, round, hair waving, full body form. It's somebody. Whether it's my sister or not, they need to be brought home.
Unbelievable. And you are going to hear from Stacy's sister, Cassandra, in a second. But first, NewsNation is on the ground, on the banks of that canal where Cassandra believes her sister's remains are resting. And before we talk to her, I really want you to get some perspective here about the area that we're talking about, so you can understand where these remains were found. Here is national correspondent Alex Capriello.
Hey there, Brian. I'm standing at the I&M Canal about an hour southwest of downtown Chicago. This is a massive waterway that spans more than 100 miles throughout the state of Illinois. But the reason I selected this specific spot is because this is the area where Cassandra Kale says she found the body of her sister, Stacy Peterson. I just got off the phone with Cassandra, and here's the story as she tells it. She believes that Drew Peterson actually dropped Stacy's body off the 135th Street Bridge, which is about 2 miles north from here, but that the powerful currents of this waterway actually pushed her body downstream all the way here. And actually, when you look at the water itself, you can see that it's not very clear. In fact, in some spots, it's really murky. Farther out in the distance, the pressure and the current is a lot stronger than here on the edge. So you can understand why it might be difficult for law enforcement to actually find a body if something is dumped out here. Now, I ask Cassandra, why is it that you haven't just come out here yourself and retrieved the skeleton of your sister if you truly believe she's in here? She tells me that her team of divers simply just does not have the proper equipment to do so. This is obviously a story we're going to continue to follow closely, and it is important to note, while Drew Peterson is still in jail, he does maintain his innocence.
All right, now for a first-hand account on all of this breaking news, the woman who has not given up searching for her sister for 16 years. She joins us live now, Stacy's sister, Cassandra Kales. Cassandra, thank you for being with us. You have been relentless looking for your sister and what happened here. And this is a bombshell tonight, the fact that these remains have been found in the canal there where Alex was just standing. How did this all come about, Cassandra? Walk us through it.
Basically, I've never stopped. We've had numerous sonar searches, and back in 2007, November 19th in 2007, we found a female body, which was basically my sister. You could see the hair waving, the breasts, and her legs. She was becoming buoyant, but not buoyant enough to come to the top of the surface because she was weighed down. She was at that location for 3 days. State police were notified, and they didn't do anything. They were sent everything. They had the coordinates, and then me and my team, we were threatened to be arrested if we acted on anything. And after the third day, she was gone, and we just went on continuing searching. Then the spring of 2008, we expanded and continued, and we found her down the canal, resting on the bottom. You can see decomp, not in that video. There's actually another image, and you can see decomp and the flesh going. You can actually see a fish above her body. She still had flesh, but she lost her eyes and her feet were gone. It was kind of turning skeletal. Informed the state police. Again, nothing. I think I fought them for like a year, and then they just went out and did a blind dive one day and didn't even like re-sonar it. Then the technology keeps getting better and better, and I looked for the best of the best, and that's when I found the one and only sonar ROV and had it brought in from Alaska, and that's what we got. And that was just out of sheer luck.
That is incredible. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, I'm just looking at the images, Cassandra, and the fact that you had to find this sonar RV from Alaska to come down and that you were able to locate these remains, it is unbelievable. And I don't understand. I'm just trying to understand, like, what are the police doing? If you were able to locate the skull and other bones and you know where they are, I would think there'd be a dive team in the water tonight going to collect the remains.
No.
Like, what is going on?
That image, that's actually live video you're looking at. You can see the silt moving around the grabber claw. So basically, we had the ROV sitting on top, just in that position, sitting on the bottom, and I had called state police. I had called the state's attorney. They came out. They seen it. I even set up a tent because it was cold out. And we showed them everything, and then we just stood there, and they just said, "What do you expect us to come out tonight or to right now?" And I just get pushed back. And then I had to call them every day. Then I called the FBI, and then finally I got the FBI to come in 3 months later after I was on that, and they just kind of did a blind dive and floated around. I have that on video. They were all just floating on the top of the water the whole time. And then when I was there, they didn't even talk to me, and they treat me like a criminal. So And then at the end, they told me that area is cleared. So that area is cleared. Now I'm just trying to get some funds and get that equipment back. And they said it's clear. It's not, so there's no crime scene. I'll walk into state police with her skull in my hand. It's somebody's. It's not. I don't know if it's my sister, but it's definitely somebody's loved one that needs to be coming home.
So they say the area is cleared, but you've got the sonar RV there with the images.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those things can't be true. And how far away could that have floated? I mean,
it didn't. It covers with
They
silt
said it was a rock.
instantly. Yeah, they said that was a rock. And I actually have video footage of that when we went to move the ROV, that we actually bumped the skull and you could see the underside of the skull, like the bottom of your skull. It fell off. But it gets resilted over very quick.
I mean, I'm trying to, it's frustrating to even hear you tell this story, and I can't imagine what it's like for you on the inside, having to go through all this and then the police not do a thorough search. But is this because Drew Peterson is in prison for life? Is that part of this? Are they just thinking like, what good is this going to do with this? Like, I'm just trying to understand why this isn't being taken more seriously.
I don't know. They were taking it. They wanted to. This was a couple years back. They wanted to prosecute Drew for my sister without a body, and I told them good luck. And they said, well, because I wouldn't go, and they said I would have to. They subpoenaed me, and then I just looked them in the face and I told them, you can't force me what to say on the stand. I don't recall. So, because they just, I'm not going to do that. I don't care about a trial. He's already in jail. I don't, Glasgow doesn't need another star in his belt to get Drew again. I just, help me bring my sister home. So, and give her the
they may not need another. They may not need another star in their belt, like you say, but you, Cassandra, deserve some kind of closure. Your family deserves at least, closure. I mean, it's not going to bring you closure what you're going through all these years, but you at least should be able to bring her home and, like you said, have a funeral. Yeah. I mean, after all you've been through for 16 years, at the very least, I don't know how all this works. I mean, you mentioned that you could get in trouble, but is there a way that you could have the team just retrieve? I mean, if police aren't going to do anything, can you just retrieve the remains?
I've figured out ways around that, yes, to where, because honestly, I don't know if that's my sister, and I know it's if it's somebody else, I don't mind tampering with my own sister's crime scene, because that's not a crime scene to me. But if it is someone else's loved one, I do not want to mess that up. But I have the proper people now to be able to come in, do the dive, and it's all legal. And once they retrieve all the remains and the evidence, and it's bagged and tagged and photographed, then we call the state police, and then they do the handoff and sign it over. They're actually another law enforcement agency.
So basically, you have to do everything. You bring the crew in from Alaska another time to search for the bones, and then you've had to do it all. And you make a good point. I mean, maybe it's not Stacy, maybe it is someone else, but that's still another unsolved case, probably. Right. And I mean, what are the chances, though? The fact that she went missing, I saw at Alex's piece there, and you've got the bridge not that far away, and it's so close to where she went missing. I mean, it does seem like those parts align to what may have happened here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been so, as you said, relentless. I'm not giving up. Just because the state police and the FBI cleared the area doesn't mean I'm not going back. So,
was your relationship fractured with the police? I mean, it's obviously not in a good place right now because you're the one having to go out and search for your sister. I mean, has it always been this fractured, or did this just happen over time when they weren't taking you seriously?
They pretty much they've just treated me this way the whole time, and I never really wanted to like do media and stuff to show like sonar images of my sister, because I want people to remember her in bodily form. And that's why I just finally said forget it, and that's why I put this out there. 'Cause maybe I'm crazy, I mean, I don't know, but you can totally see a skull and the vertebrae and stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know why the police treat me like that. It's just anytime I have any information or tips or anything, I go there and I give them to them. And it's just like they close the door in my face. Oh, I can't tell you we're going to do anything with this or not do anything with it. I'm like, okay. So.
Cassandra, you are not crazy. Number one, you're the one who's been searching for your sister. You've got experts out there who are backing up what you found. Even if it's not her, it's someone else's loved one. And I don't think anyone is watching this thinking that you're the crazy one here. And I just hope that maybe now that this is out, I understand why you didn't want to go to the media right away with it, showing your sister's remains, possible remains. But maybe now that this is out, the authorities will take it seriously, and we'll continue to follow it too. So I really appreciate you coming on tonight, Cassandra, and I really hope that this goes somewhere.
Yeah, me too. I won't stop. I'll still be going. So thank you for having me.
All right. Yeah, of course. We'll stay on it, Cassandra, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, and sticking with Drew Peterson here for a minute, just while we're on the subject, we wanted to let you know, because there are developments with his case. He had a court date yesterday. It was a hearing. As part of his effort to get a new murder trial, Peterson's attorney asked the judge for another mental competency exam. Since they claim a previous evaluation was inconclusive, the judge set another hearing actually for Thursday. And I want to remind you, because Ashleigh Banfield, she had this interview in prison with the guy. So we're gonna go back to it because there's so many components to it. She asked Drew Peterson face to face just a couple of weeks ago if he thinks he is mentally healthy and should get a new trial. And look at what he said.
How do you characterize your mental health?
I'm fine. I mean, it's just like I'm not overly angry with anybody. I'm still as jovial as I ever was. I joke around, a kid. It's like there's really nothing I can do different. I can sit and cry in a room if I want to, but that's not going to be doing me any good. So it's like my whole thing is my children are happy and healthy, and they're provided for. And if that's being taken care of, then I'm fine. That gives me great peace of mind. And other than that, put me where you want to put me.
But as far as an upcoming potential trial, you feel completely competent to stand trial?
The only thing is a trial can only help me. They can't, if they find me guilty again, well, I'm no better than I was. It's got potential to, if everything's presented in a correct way, then it may free me.
You heard Drew Peterson there. Go back and watch the full interview on YouTube now that you've got all these details. See if you think Drew Peterson is mentally unfit, because it was a long interview Ashleigh did with him, and they went into details. Peterson, convicted back in 2012, murdering his third wife, again remains the prime suspect in the death of his fourth. He and his lawyers hoping a new mental evaluation might win him a new trial, and now this new bombshell development. Stacy's sister, Cassandra, she brings in a team from Alaska. She has found something in that canal. You saw the images. She found something. Are they going to take her seriously and finally go down, find the bones? We're going to stay on it and see how this plays out. Wow, what a story. What a development today. Okay, it's not over yet, though. We've got more in the show still to come. Her name is Ronda Rousey. She is one of the most accomplished fighters of all time, the only woman to ever hold UFC and WWE titles. But tonight, she is weighing in on her former boss, Vince McMahon. She says there is a clear disconnect between the character fans saw in the ring and the man behind the persona. She also shares something that is not in her new memoir, an alleged interaction with another WWE wrestler who she says put hands on her outside the ring. She's sharing that story. It's next. Sex abuse allegations facing Vince McMahon and the WWE, they are filthy, explicit, disturbing enough to bring on major backlash from the wrestling megastars. Or so you would think. We have heard from some former wrestlers from decades ago. They say the accusations are not surprising. We've seen some former executives sort of tiptoe around the topic. But we've also seen John Cena declare his love for McMahon and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson take a leadership role in the WWE. Well, now comes a true wrestling powerhouse, slamming McMahon and the culture he allowed to fester. Ronda Rousey. There she is. She's so awesome. She was once described by Sports Illustrated as the world's most dominant athlete. She is the first American woman to win an Olympic medal in judo and the first woman inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. She worked for Vince McMahon from 2018 to 2019 and again from 2022 until just last October. Well, I spoke with Rousey earlier today. She's got a new book. It's called Our Fight. And also I got a reaction to the scandal surrounding McMahon and the WWE. Take a look.
Well, it's not surprising, and I can tell you the reason why nobody else is speaking out is because they know that there will be negative repercussions if they say anything about the company that the company doesn't like, and so. Everybody's being held hostage by their careers, but since I don't plan on going back there unless they make some very major changes, I, feel free to say whatever I want to say, which, I've always felt that way. I don't really, I don't really care if they have me back or not. I can wrestle wherever I want to wrestle, and the truth should be told.
Yeah, and you've always been very outspoken. I mean, like you said, not working there anymore does make it easier, but I sort of get the sense even if you were still there, you would have a hard time staying quiet about something like this.
Yeah, I'm not really, known for being soft-spoken.
Yeah, for sure. Did you ever experience any sexual misconduct or see anything yourself involving McMahon?
Not Vince like personally towards me, but the company culture definitely.
Yeah, elaborate on that a little. What do you mean by the company culture?
Well, one time I was waiting to go, I think, talk to Triple H in the writers' room or something, and I was standing there with Bruce Pritchard and another one of the writers, and God, I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot this guy's name. It'll come back to me. But I was standing there, and this guy that I was barely an acquaintance with grabs the string of my sweatpants as I'm walking by, and nobody, I wasn't even looking at him, and I looked down the hall, and I was like, I don't know if I can swear on this. Are you gonna bleep me? It's a quote, okay? But this guy grabs the string of my sweatpants, and nobody else reacts as if this is abnormal. And he grabs it and he starts going down the hall, and I'm just like, what the was that? Why are you grabbing the string of my sweatpants? If my husband was standing here next to me, would you feel comfortable walking up to me and grabbing the string of my sweatpants? And and nobody around me acted as if it was abnormal. All the guys around me were just this is part of the day. And I'm like, if this guy is coming up to me and doing this kind of stuff to me when there's other people around, what's happening to these other girls when it's not in a hallway or something like that? So that really put me on an edge to not only is this behavior prevalent, but it's so prevalent that people don't even realize it's a problem anymore.
Who was this guy?
Dude, I swear to God, I know exactly what he looks like, and I completely am blanking on his name. Is this part of my concussion test? Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak. That's who it was. Yes. Yeah, I went and confronted him later, and I was like, if I ever hear about you putting like your hands on any other woman like this or doing anything like this to me ever again, we're going to have I'm editing myself all the swear words out, but we're going to have a problem. And he was like, no, I'm glad that you said something to me. He's really like backpedaled and everything like that. But it just put a really sour taste in my mouth about the culture there and what's considered acceptable and how to touch and treat the women in the hallways and anywhere, but backstage.
Yeah, I bet he did backpedal. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, if he was willing to do that to you, a massive star,
in front
imagine
of people in a
with some of these
hallway.
other, yeah.
Exactly.
I want to read a portion of your memoir. Again, it's called Our Fight. It comes out today, where you talk about McMahon. You say, it is hard sometimes to know where the evil, unethical, slimeball character of Vince McMahon played out for the cameras ends and the actual questionably ethical, many times sued and multiple times accused of sexual misconduct Vince McMahon begins. So, I mean, explain to me what you're saying there. I guess he had this persona on air. Yeah, it is. I mean, it sounds like he had this persona on TV, the Vince McMahon we knew, but I mean, was sort of this slime ball too behind the scenes.
Well, there's a really fuzzy line between fiction and reality in that place. So every act, I think, comes with a grain of truth.
Yeah. I mean, do you think more women will come forward, Rhonda? I mean, have you heard any rumblings behind the scenes? Because, someone of your fame, I would think even people would feel comfortable maybe coming to you for advice. Has there been anything happening behind the scenes?
I mean, not that I know of. I just know that Janelle Grant only came forward because Vince McMahon didn't pay out the full hush money payment. It was like $3 million that she was promised for, signing an NDA or whatever, buying her silence. And the only reason it got discovered was that he paid her off $1 million, but it was with the company's money, and it wasn't even with his money. And then they discovered $17 million of other hush money payments that he paid to other women who aren't going to say anything because, they got paid and they signed, not to. So there's definitely a lot more skeletons in that closet, but I don't know if we're going to hear about it anymore unless, Vince misses some more payments or uses some more company money to pay off these women.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how many of those NDAs exist out there. Hush money payments. I mean, makes you wonder how many women are out there that just feel like they can't come forward.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll ever know.
Yeah, it's a good point. So your book, Our Fight, it's a powerful title, and I just think back to your career, and you've always been a fighter, an incredible one. Is that a nod to women, Our Fight? Is that a message that you're sending out?
To women specifically, I think it's to everyone. It's not just for women. I think everyone is in the fight of their life in one way or another. And the first memoir was called My Fight, Your Fight, and we kind of got more into the principles of fighting and how it applied to all these different formative events in my life and how it can also apply to you in your fight. Because, sports are a metaphor for life, and I believe every fight is like a life in miniature. And in this book, we called it Our Fight because once I became a public figure, our journeys became intertwined. And whether I felt like I was me fighting the world in public perception or us fighting together for the same things, it became something that we shared.
Yeah, it's true. And I think people feel a connection to you, obviously, through your fighting, but they feel inspired by you in their lives too, even though most people are not fighters, just in what they do every single day, which is another reason I think the book is so powerful. I want to read another excerpt, and this kind of relates back to everything going on at the WWE and has to do with with the casting couch culture. You write, WWE bills itself as a sports entertainment organization, and just like in the mainstream entertainment industry, there was, by all accounts, a casting couch culture where men backstage in powerful positions pressured female talent for sexual favors in return for airtime. There were so many public accusations and scandals, it's hard to keep track, and more that I'm sure the WWE managed to sweep under the rug, which you just elaborated on with all the NDAs and the hush money. But, I mean, is that something you felt quite often, Rhonda, in terms of, I mean, did people sort of did women have to put out to rise up within the organization?
I mean, I think, especially under Triple H and everything, things have changed a lot from the, bra and panty match era. But I wouldn't say that there's full equality or anything. There's a lot of progress still yet to be made. I was more referring to the extremely seedy past. The present isn't perfect, but it's definitely improved from where it was.
Rhonda, definitely not afraid to speak out. She wasn't holding back. Here's her book. It's out just today. It's called Our Fight. Available in bookstores all over the place. All right, that was cool. Talking to Ronda Rousey. Okay, still to come tonight, 2 Kansas women vanish without a trace. Their car abandoned by the side of the road in a neighboring state. Today, the high school one of those women graduated from almost a decade ago was on lockdown as the investigation continues. And we've dug up some exclusive details, what might be happening behind the scenes here. We've got a live update next. Breaks tonight in the mystery of the 2 missing moms in Oklahoma. Authorities are calling the disappearance on Saturday of 27-year-old Veronica Butler and 39-year-old Jillian Kelly suspicious, and they consider the women endangered. Sources have told NewsNation that the women were on their way from their hometown in Kansas to pick up Veronica's children in rural Oklahoma. Jillian, we're told, was along as a possible mediator. This is all new because of an ongoing custody dispute. NewsNation has learned the children's paternal grandmother has custody and their father is in rehab. Their grandfather, by the way, has a long criminal history with offenses including arson and domestic abuse. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes here. Meantime, the town of Hugoton, Kansas, they're on edge, bracing for the worst. Today, the high school that Veronica Butler graduated from in 2015 was on lockdown. NewsNation correspondent Brooke Schaefer joins us live now from Oklahoma. She's out there. All right, first of all, Brooke, what's the deal with this lockdown? Do we know how that's connected?
Yeah, I think, Brian, that this was really out of an abundance of caution, but it's really interesting here. This is a school that's not too far from where this abandoned car was found. It's also the school, like you mentioned, that Veronica Butler graduated from back in 2015. Today, the superintendent of that school district letting parents know that the school today was going to be on lockdown. He said, really, at this point, it's because there's still so many questions that we don't have answers to. So the school was on lockdown. Kids stayed inside all day. They had the doors locked. They brought in extra security as well. Again, I think this was really out of an abundance of caution, but it's because there's still so many unanswered questions about the disappearance of these 2 moms.
Something else interesting, Brooke, none of the families are talking. Some of them are telling media that they were told not to talk. Police did not have a press conference today. There was really no official new information. We had to dig all that stuff up ourselves. Makes me wonder if there's some kind of movement behind the scenes, something they know.
It does make you wonder. It certainly feels at this point like we are not getting the full picture from investigators right now as they continue to work behind the scenes trying to track down these 2 missing moms. There's definitely a lot of posts on social media, a lot of family members who are sharing these the pictures of these 2 women, asking for any information. But I've reached out to a couple of them, and specifically I spoke with a woman who said that she is Veronica's aunt. I talked to her on Facebook earlier today, and she said that they were asked rather not to do any interviews until they get some permission from authorities down here. She even mentioned that there was a gag order on the case, but I think at this point, really, it's that family has kind of been asked to stay quiet as investigators work on this behind the scenes.
So again, just reading between the lines here, you've got two missing moms. You would think the police would want to get the word out and have everybody talking. So there's something we don't know. We only have about 10 seconds left, Brooke, but remind me again, whose kids were they going to pick up? What was that part of the story? Do you know?
Yeah, according to a lot of Facebook posts and talking to some family members, these two women were going to pick up Veronica's kids, and they were going to pick them up at at a house rather in Eva, a very rural town.
Yeah, something strange here. We'll stay on it, Brooke. Glad you're in Oklahoma. Appreciate the live report. Okay, still to come, never before seen body cam video of the moments right after OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny stabbed her boyfriend to death. She's terrified. The new video's next.
Sweating. Common side effects include inflammation of the nose and throat, insomnia, and sleepiness.
Ask your doctor for Austedo XR.
It was 2 years ago tomorrow that OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny, known to her almost 2 million followers as Courtney Taylor, fatally stabbed her boyfriend inside their luxury Miami apartment. I know you've probably heard the story before, you know the backstory, but you've never seen it like this. Miami police have just released body camera video from the first officers on the scene, and it shows Clenny basically freaking out, covered in blood, not quite understanding why she's being told not to move. She claims she's terrified for Christian Abumseli, her victim, and asks whether he is dead. Take a look.
What's his name? Christian Abumseli. Christian. Abumseli, please. Sit down. Do me a favor. Sit down. Do not move. Why are you yelling at me? Do not move. Why are you yelling at me? Do not move. Sit down. Okay, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what happened. I'm terrified for him. Right now, don't worry. They're helping him. So just sit down. Don't move. Okay? Oh my God. Oh my God. Is he dead? Is he dead? Sit down. Sit down. Okay, no, I'll sit down. You scared me. Sit down. He's not dead, is he? We don't. No, they're taking him to the hospital.
So he throws you against the wall?
Then he put me on the ground.
You threw the knife at him?
Yeah. But I was so scared.
Wow, okay, so Abumseli was pronounced dead later after being rushed to a hospital, and Clenny was charged with second-degree murder. Prosecutors say the couple's relationship was, quote, extremely I don't even know how to say that word. I'm just going to say combative, with Abumseli often on the receiving end of abuse, but Clenny and her attorneys insist that she acted in self-defense. And in a truly bizarre twist to this case, Clenny's parents were arrested back in January, accused of tampering with Abumseli's laptop, and now that is part of this whole very strange case. Look, they were arrested. Man, this one just has so many twists and turns. We'll stay on it. That's it for us tonight. Thanks always for watching. Enjoyed filling in. Cuomo's next.